Ms. Roberts, how many fires have you lit?
3 of them.
3? And why were you lighting the fires again?
Out of anger.
Anger.
You heard correctly. Now, this is not a typical arson case where, she lit a house on fire, someone happened to die. No, it turns out that this woman, she has a long history of lighting things on fire. She actually has failed parole 3 or 4 times. This woman is dangerous. Now, you might say, look, she's aged out, she's been in prison a long time. How much risk can she really be if paroled? Well, to help answer that question, let's first take a flashback to the past to her 2022 parole hearing before we come back to the present day. So, with that, let's jump.
This is the matter of Sharon A. Roberts, DOC number 111955, date of birth November. She's classified as a 5th felony offender. She has a parole eligibility date of October the 17th of 2022, an adjusted good time date of May the 12th of 2033, and a full term date of December the 7th of 2033. She is currently serving a 31-year, 1 month, 21-day sentence for the charges of aggravated arson, manslaughter, and another arson charge, all having been sentenced on May the 19th of 2003. Ms. Roberts, does that sound accurate to you?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Roberts, your case has been assigned to Ms. Pearl Wise. Ms. Wise will begin our interview process. Would you please answer any questions she might have?
Yes, sir.
Can we?
We're trying, so we should hopefully get it in the next second or two.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, Ms. Roberts.
Good morning, ma'am.
How's it going?
Yes, all right.
This your first parole hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
This your first parole hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll call out for the record. How old are you today?
57, ma'am.
Okay, and how long you been in jail on these charges?
On 20 years and 3 months.
20 years and 3 months on a 31-year sentence, 31 plus years sentence. Okay. I called out for the record some of the programs that you've taken that have an impact on you.
It helped me a lot, ma'am, especially my
some of them.
With specific ones.
reentry, my pre-release program. It that helped me with my finance problems, going out, doing resume on my jobs, It really helped me a lot.
Okay. You had some hospital stays in 2019. How are you medically?
All right, ma'am. I had a surgery done.
Oh, you're doing good.
Yes, ma'am.
The records I have show that you're the mother of 3 children. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What are the ages of your children?
I have 2 deceased, 1 living. One was 21, one was 35.
Okay.
And my youngest son is 25. He's still living.
Okay, I'm so sorry to hear that. Sorry. Do you have a relationship with your son?
Yeah, I talk to him, as much as I can, ma'am.
Okay, good. Do you have any grandchildren?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Who does your son live with?
He just recently got married last year.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Got a daughter-in-law.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I do want to inform you, as a part of this process, we reach out to the law enforcement community to get their opinion about early release. And there's a lot of opposition to your early release. There's nothing you can do about it. I just wanted to state that for the record. Let's talk a little bit about your crime. What makes you tick in doing this?
I was a bad alcoholic, ma'am, and I used my substance, on my crime.
So you were under influence every time?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other reason, if over these 20 years that you have time to reflect, what else you come up with as the reason you did that?
Just using my substance, careless, negligent, on my crime.
But were you angry?
No, ma'am. I was just drinking a lot, just careless.
Okay. Okay. When you said drinking a lot, what were you drinking?
I would drink vodka, about a bottle of vodka.
Okay. You so there was never any intent on your part to kill someone. Never.
No, ma'am.
Was no jealousy in your relationship with your girlfriend, nothing like that.
No, ma'am.
Just simply you were drunk.
Just being negligent on my crime, my substance abuse, my alcoholism.
Okay. Well, so what have you taken to address that?
I did substance abuses while being incarcerated.
So, what would be your sobriety plan if you're released today?
I like to enter into the parole progress, and continue my. I would like to continue my substance abuse on the outside.
When you said continue, what do you mean? What do you mean?
You know, since I done it here, I like to still do it. You know, get into some programs. You know, to keep going, have a sponsor. You know, to help me keep going. You know, I don't want to go out there and keep doing, you know, what I've been doing. And I pray to God, you know, I just don't want to do it.
So
I just need help, you know, continuing, you know.
Well, what about AA meetings? Something would you be doing those?
Oh, yes, ma'am. AA.
Because when you said programs, I just wasn't clear on what kind of programs you were thinking of.
Alcohol, you know, AA, substance abuse, anything that they offer me, you know, counseling.
Okay. And you showed as a fifth felony offender, and every time you were on supervision, you got what would you say is the reason for that?
Being my substance abuse.
Okay. You see, that was the reason. What age did you start drinking?
Ma'am?
What age did you start drinking alcohol?
Oh, at 16.
Say 15?
16.
16, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
How much education do you have?
A GED.
Good for you, okay. And they, the records I have indicate there are going to be some mental health follow-up as well, right? Do you have a mental health diagnosis that you can share with us?
No, ma'am. I never seen mental health, you know, while I've been incarcerated.
Oh, okay.
I was never on any kind of medication, you know.
Okay. All right, well, thank you, ma'am. I did see when you got your high in 2019. Congratulations on that. I know that's,
ma'am.
Congratulations. And staff, then what can y'all tell us about Ms. Sharon?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Ms. Sharon is a minimum custody offender with us. She works, you know, outer perimeter and maintenance. She's a really hard worker. She has not had a write-up in 10 years. We really don't have any trouble or issues with her. You know, low risk score. And I know Mr. Carey will probably say a few words, but the Parole Project has been involved to make it a smoother transition if she is granted parole today.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Warden. Mr. Rocher, question?
Yes. Good morning, Ms. Roberts. How are you?
All right, sir.
Ms. Roberts, I want to tell you very frankly, it's hard for me to believe that you've been convicted of at least 3 arsons, 2 of them aggravated arsons, because of your alcoholism. Why would you go to a restroom in an apartment, light a cigarette, leave the restroom, and then you leave the apartment before the fight? it's hard for me to believe that all of these incidents were accidents because you were intoxicated. So tell us exactly what happened and why did it happen?
Yes, sir.
I don't believe you. I need an answer, Ms. Roberts.
Oh, because I was involved with somebody else during the time of the arson charge of this last one. And I kept going back in and out the house, getting drugs to go out and sell so I could get my liquor. And the last time I went in the house that to get pills to sell, that's when I had dropped the cigarette and I didn't go back.
You knew you had dropped the cigarette.
Sir?
You knew that the cigarette was lit and you just left it there?
To be honest with you, I didn't know if it was lit or not.
So that was that time. What happened the other two times that you were that guilty to arson?
The same incident.
Have you ever attended and completed a substance abuse treatment program?
No, sir.
When did you, well, at what age did you start using alcohol and drugs?
Around 16.
And the last time you were arrested, how old were you?
Last time, 35.
So you've been using drugs and alcohol over a period of 20 years, at least 20 years, and you never received any substance abuse treatment.
No, sir.
You have a problem.
Yes, sir.
You have a serious problem. It's more than alcohol because there is another reason why an individual enjoys starting fires. Because you have 2 aggravated arson convictions, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
You have 1 simple arson conviction, am I right?
Yes, sir.
That leads me to believe that you might be a serial arsonist who enjoys starting and looking at the price. And you told Ms. Wise that you've never had any mental health treatment or evaluation. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yes, sir. I understand.
So today is day to lay all the marbles on the table, be truthful, and tell this panel exactly what happened on those arson charges, and maybe we can get some help.
Yes, sir.
So what happened? Tell me what happened.
Just acting crazy, being careless, just starting fires, you know. Just
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Okay. And now we'll hear from Mr. Kerry Myers.
Good morning, Kerry Myers, this is the Louisiana Parole Project. Ms. Roberts is here today seeking parole on this charge after serving 2/3 of her sentence. I believe this is a case where corrections has done its job. You know, while she's been incarcerated during these 20 years, she's earned her GED. She has taken substance abuse, anger management, victim awareness. She has taken horticulture. She has received NCCER certification and HVAC certification. She's been working in maintenance for 13 years on the same job. She's a minimum custody offender, and she is highly valued, as you heard, by the institution. Obviously, she still has substance abuse issues, as you know, that an alcoholic is always an alcoholic. And Parole Project is committed to helping her with additional support systems and treatment, AANA, evaluations if needed. And we're also committed to her long-term housing. She is very employable, and at age 57, she still has an opportunity to be economically independent. We are committed to providing her housing for as long as it takes to help her through this, and the support systems that she needs to get through those times. Again, this is an issue where corrections has done its job. She has availed herself of all the things she could do there in prison. She might not be the most articulate person representing herself, but we have extensively met with Ms. Roberts, and she understands what our expectations are. Should she be released? She understands what her future might hold. That it is, it's one day at a time, and we will help her through each and mentor her through each and every one of those days. So I ask this board to consider the work that she has done during these 20 years and grant her parole.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. We appreciate your comments. Ms. Roberts, is there anything you'd like to say to the board before the board votes?
No, sir.
We're ready to vote? Smile.
Ms. Roberts, I'm really concerned about you. I'm not sure how much you comprehend. Our staff there, is there anything with mental health? Is mental health following her in y'all records?
She's a mental health care 5H, so currently she's not being seen by mental health. At this time, she's not.
Okay, great, okay. But there was some indication of an aftercare plan that would be devised for her.
Yes, ma'am.
But that's just routine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Roberts, your alcoholism, what you stated is your problem. And then when I asked you about the programs that impacted you, substance abuse was not even one that you even mentioned. And that is, and then, but one thing you say, if that's the reason I'm in jail, is the substance abuse, is the alcohol.
That's right.
I'm just not ready to take a chance on it. For me, my vote is to deny because of the law enforcement opposition. There's some victim opposition, and I would just like to see you come up with a better plan, stay clean and sober, and get involved in AA and NA, get involved in a substance abuse community that we're going to sustain you when you get out. Best wishes to you, ma'am, and reapply as soon as you're eligible for review.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Mr. Roche.
Ms. Roberts, my vote is the same for the same reasons.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. Ms. Roberts, I've listened intently to what you had to say and what Mr. Myers had to say, and I have a lot of faith and a lot of confidence in the Louisiana Parole Project. You've done a very good job while you did in prison. You've got good comments from the warden about your work history. My vote today would be conditionally to grant your parole, assuming that you would complete a long-term substance abuse treatment program while in the Department of Corrections in the Parole Project. But I'm only one vote, and 2 votes have been to deny you already. So your vote, your recommendation today has been denied for parole. I encourage some more substance abuse treatment because certainly I think that if you get that behind you and you have a better plan, as I've heard both of my colleagues say, I think next time if you had a better plan for yourself. I know Mr. Myers has got a good plan for you when you get out, but if you had your own plan ready to put in place and we felt you had accepted that plan, I think you'd get a good approach. So I encourage you to continue to work hard and to work especially on your substance abuse treatments.
Yes, sir.
Oh, died today. Good luck to you.
Yes, sir.
And here we are. It's 2025, July 2025, and she's having another bite at the apple, another chance at parole. And she's here with the Parole Project, and they've also brought on some experts. They brought the whole army to now talk about how she's special, to bring another angle as to why it is that she lit the fires. I mean, surely you can't just be a psychopathic arsonist. No, no, no. There's always a reason for it. It might just be the short bus that she took to school. But we're going to watch this parole hearing, and there are a few things that we're going to have that we didn't have in the last one. We are going to hear from the victims. Now, if you were wondering, well, how come we didn't hear from the victims in the previous hearing? The short answer is we don't know. But I have reasons to believe that they simply were not notified. We had seen back in the day that Louisiana was really they just were not thorough in notifying all the victims. We had seen victims show up to a second hearing, for example, and say, I was never told about the first one. So I think that that is definitely very possible. But we are going to hear from the victims who will share information on this case that will just bring a very important narrative. Now, thank goodness Mr. No Way Roche was here because, again, Miss Wise, when she's given a case, whenever she's given a case, I shudder because we just know that you're not going to get anything out of it. I don't know if it's because she counts on her parole board members to do the dirty work for her. I've never been able to quite figure it out. It's always been frustrating. But even then, she still is many times better than some of the other parole board members that we see in other states. But enough of my yapping. Let's see if she comes out here and admits to being an arsonist, right? Let's see what happens and if the results are different for her. So with that, let's jump in.
So today we're here for her parole hearing. Her parole date was 10/17/22. Her discharge date, good time date is 10/10/32. Full term date is 8/29/33. She is a fifth felony offender and she is serving 31 years, 5 months, and 13 days for the charges of manslaughter, simple arson, and aggravated arson. Does that sound correct, Ms. Roberts?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Before we get started, just a little bit of house cleaning. You know, we have a lot of people here today. I am going to try not to cut anyone off. I know everybody has a lot to say. So, but try to keep your comments brief if you can. If you can't, we will bear with you. Sure. Want you to get everything out that you came here to say. Okay, first off, Ms. Roberts, tell me why you think you should be considered for parole today, and what did you do to get in jail?
Mr. Freeman, if I could just quickly interrupt. Sorry, Micah Sloan. I'm an attorney representing Sharon Roberts. I'm an attorney with the Louisiana Parole Project. Ms. Roberts does have some intellectual deficits that make it difficult for her to fully express herself and to articulate. But it was really important to her that she get across to the board her feelings of remorse. And what she's done is she's written down a letter expressing that. And I wonder if the board would allow her to read that letter before we begin questioning. I know she would appreciate that opportunity. I think it's important that it be in the record.
That's no problem. I'm sorry I missed you, Ms. Sloan.
No problem.
And you can help her out anytime you want during the hearing. Okay, I will get to you for your statement also at the proper time.
Actually, so Ms. Roberts has two attorneys today, and I'm going to allow Ms. Hannah Rose Gordell to do the statement later. But I'll be here if she needs any support.
Okay, all right, Ms. Roberts, read your letter then if you would like to.
To the Gaspard family, I'm sorry that I caused the death of your mother. There's not enough words to explain the remorse I feel for my crime and the pain and suffering I've caused your family. I was wrong for doing this, causing Amy's death, and I'm ashamed. Every day I think about the loss I have caused you. I wish I could turn back the time and change what I did. I hurt for you, all of you. And even though words would never be enough to accept for what I did, I am really sorry. Thank
Okay, all right, Ms. Roberts, well, tell us why do you think you should get out today?
For the past 23 years, I accept, what I did, I was wrong. I'm an alcoholic and I went through programs. I did a lot of schooling. I got back my education back. I did my schooling. I did AA. And I'd like to continue doing my AA substance abuse and seeing a social worker. My actions, what I did was caused by the death, Amy Gaspard.
And what did you do? I mean, how did this happen?
Because I was involved, I was drinking, and I was involved with drugs with another acquaintance that would come over, and I would leave and get drugs for him and leave and get alcohol and come back and get more pills to sell so I can get alcohol.
Okay.
And I threw a cigarette on the floor and just left it there. But I never thought it would get out of hand.
Okay, we'll get into that. Your case was assigned to Mr. Barra. When it's his time for questioning, we'll get more involved into the exact incident. Okay, now we're gonna hear from your supporters, Mr. Andrew Hunley of the Parole Project. Mr. Hunley.
Andrew Hunley, representing Louisiana Parole Project, to inform the board that if Sharon would be granted parole, that she is a client of our organization and we would accept her into our reentry program. Just a few notes on why we accepted her. We recognize and are well aware of her criminal background. However, due to her age and her demonstrated maturity over the last 20 plus years, we are impressed with the person that she has become and have confidence in her ability to transition to a second chance. She has no disciplinary offenses in the last 13 years, so she's demonstrated that she follows rules. And she's had an array of programming that she's continued to take on even to this day. She started over 2/3 of her sentence at this point, and because the changes in the law this could be her last parole hearing for good time discharging. So we asked the board to consider that she could have about her reentry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hunley. I just want to note for the record that we have Mr. Hunley, he's with the Parole Project. We have Miss Audrey Barton, she's a social worker. She'll be giving us, she'll be speaking next. Hannah Rose Brodell, I think you're gonna do the part of the attorney instead of Miss Sloan, or if y'all want to do it together, that's fine. Beatrice Taylor, a friend. Christy Sheramy, Louisiana Parole Project, Stephanie King, a friend, and Demetri C. Moore, Louisiana Parole Project. In opposition, we have Tanya Gaspard, victim sister-in-law, Paula Beret, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, victim's friend, Guy Dessel, victim's family, Isaac Guillory, victim's family, Mandy Guillory, victim's daughter, and Patricia Bush, victim's friend. I will call on y'all also at the proper time to make your statements. Also, Warden, what do you have to tell us about Ms. Roberts?
Good morning. Sharon is one of our minimum custody inmates. Like she had mentioned, she has gone back and finished up her schooling, and I think that was quite a success for her, which we are very proud of her for that. She works as a healthcare orderly, And like Mr. Hunley even said, she has not had, a write-up in over a decade, so no disciplinary issues. She really is wonderful about coming to work and pitching in where she needs to. So we really do not have any issues, and we fully support. If she's granted today, I know she'll do well at the parole project.
Thank you, Warden. Appreciate that. Okay, Ms. Barton.
Hey, good morning. My name's Audrey Barton. I'm a licensed master social worker with the Louisiana Parole Project. I met with Ms. Roberts on July 2nd to conduct a needs assessment. The social workers evaluate all of our clients, but Ms. Roberts' legal team suggested that she might benefit from some additional one-on-one time. I initially met with Ms. Roberts at LCIW for 2 hours, and then last Friday I spoke with her via Zoom. Both times that I've met with her, she was very cooperative and friendly. Ms. Roberts' legal team informed me that she was in special education during her school years, and based on my conversations with her, I've observed some symptoms consistent with an intellectual disability, which might give us some insight on her ability to effectively express herself. I'm aware of her previous charges, and I've spoken with her about the behaviors related to these acts. Ms. Roberts experienced trauma during her adolescence and early adulthood, but she has engaged in efforts to process and heal from these experiences to the best of her ability and has developed tools to manage her feelings of anger. Ms. Roberts reports on maintaining 23 years of sobriety and appears committed to her continued recovery and personal growth. As an additional step of her reentry plan, I will refer her out to individual therapy. The social work team here has a relationship and referral process with Excel Behavioral Health. Excel has a team of psychiatrists, social workers, and counselors that have committed to provide Ms. Roberts with therapy focused on impulse control and decision making. Ms. Roberts has expressed openness and willingness to work with me and follow all treatment recommendations that I gave her. I'm confident that she has the capacity to comply with any recommendations given to her. And of course, if Ms. Roberts is released, she will have ongoing support from a dedicated social work team committed to walking with her every step of the way. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and last we'll hear from her attorneys. I don't know which one wants to speak first.
All right, I think Miss Christy Jeremy wanted to speak as well, if the board will allow before Miss Grodell speaks.
Who's that now?
Christy Jeremy.
Okay, we didn't have you down to speak, but Ms. Jeremy, would you like to speak?
Yes,
ma'am, go ahead.
I think there was might have been a little discrepancy on how many people are already speaking. I think that's why it was changed.
Yeah, we're not supposed to have over 3, and you make
Good
more, but go
morning,
ahead.
board, and I appreciate this opportunity. My name is Christy Sherry, and I'm the Administrative Manager at the Louisiana Parole Department. I'm here today not only in that position, but as someone who has personally known Sharon for over the years. Sharon and I spent 16 years together in prison. I've been home a little over 6 years, and throughout all of that time, I've known Sharon to be consistent, respectful, and generous. Even when she had very little, she was always willing to give. Whether it was her time, a kind word, or support to others around. She has always carried herself with humility. She stayed focused, avoided trouble, and surrounded herself with positive influences. Most importantly, Sharon has taken full responsibility of her past. She doesn't talk about it often, but it is clear that she carries deep remorse for her actions. And that remorse has led to her growth. Now at 60 years old, Sharon is committed to her sobriety, grounded in who she is, and is prepared for a new chapter. If granted parole, she will enter the Louisiana Parole Project's reentry program immediately. She'll have stable housing, a support system, and a structure needed to help her to succeed. I'm also going to be her case manager, and I'll be here to help her adjust and move forward day by day. Starting over after decades is not easy. I know that from experience. But I also know when someone is ready. And Sharon definitely is. She's done the work, and she has people who believe in her. And if granted, we await her release. I believe in second chances when they're earned. And Sharon has done just that. She's ready to live a quiet and stable life, one built on accountability and community support. And I just want to say thank you all for your time and consideration in this matter.
Thank you. Okay, and now we'll hear from her attorney.
Thank you. To the honorable members of this committee, my name is Hannah Rose Grodell. I'm an attorney with the Louisiana Parole Project, appearing before you today to request the parole for Ms. Sharon Roberts, who at 60 years old has served more than 75% of her sentence. Sharon Roberts has transformed and today seeks not just release, but the opportunity to rejoin society under structured supervision and with the full backing of a deeply invested support network. Ms. Roberts has difficulty speaking openly about her past, not because she doesn't take accountability, but because the pain of what she did is still very present. It is painful for her to talk about causing the death of someone she loved. Her struggle to communicate stems from the deep shame she carries, the grief she feels for the Gaspard family, and the toll her actions have taken on her own life. But those of us who know Ms. Roberts, her legal team, our social workers, and the women she lived alongside for decades have seen firsthand the depth of her remorse. So while you may not hear it in the same way you do in other cases, you can see it, and she feels it. Ms. Roberts was placed in special education as a child and still recalls being labeled a slow learner. She has always struggled to understand and express things the way others do, and over the years, trauma and poverty compounded those challenges, leaving her vulnerable and without many tools to advocate for herself. Yet despite those obstacles and the tremendous pain she has carried, Ms. Roberts was determined to change and has spent the last 23 years doing just that. Ms. Roberts' record demonstrates discipline, growth, and perseverance. As you've heard, in 2019, she earned her GED, a milestone that took time, effort, and determination. She held the same maintenance job for 18 years, demonstrating reliability and responsibility. She has completed every rehabilitative program available to her. She is 23 years sober and has worked tirelessly to maintain that sobriety through ongoing substance abuse programming and weekly AA meetings. She has learned to manage her emotions. She's not received a disciplinary infraction for over 13 years. She's liked and well respected within LCIW, earning herself a level 3 trustee status. And perhaps most importantly, she has formed strong and supportive relationships, creating for the first time in her life a sense of trust, safety, and belonging. The letters of support submitted on Ms. Roberts' behalf describe her as one of the most selfless people others have known. This is the Sharon Roberts before you today, a woman who is loved, changed, and now devotes her spare time to volunteering with her elderly peers. We are not here to suggest that Ms. Roberts' past should be forgotten, nor do we believe it ever could be. Rather, we ask that you consider her present and her future. She has proven she's not a danger to the community. She is committed to continuing her recovery. She understands she used to use alcohol to numb her pain and gave in to impulsive reactions, but today she relies on healthy coping skills. Ms. Roberts is also eager to work, something she takes great pride in. She's surrounded by a strong network of supporters who will continue to hold her accountable, care for her well-being, and want to see her succeed. Releasing Ms. Roberts on parole rather than through good time will allow us to ensure she receives the full scope of our services. We've created a detailed reentry plan tailored to meet her particular needs, including access to licensed counselors, a personalized sobriety plan, job placement assistance, and monitored stable housing under the care of Christy Sheremy, who knows and understands Ms. Roberts well. Having intellectual deficits, living through trauma, and struggling with alcoholism does not make someone dangerous. It means they need support. And Ms. Roberts now has that support.
You are trash.
And she's shown she's ready to use it. At 60 years old, with over 2 decades of demonstrated growth, accountability, and rehabilitation, this moment represents not just an opportunity, but the right time for Ms. Roberts' release. Today, Sharon Roberts comes before you not as the person she once was, but as a woman who is humble, changed, and ready to live her days in peace, sobriety, and service to others. So for these reasons, we respectfully request that you grant her parole, and thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're gonna go to those in opposition, and y'all can speak in whichever order y'all want to go to, so y'all choose who wants to go in.
This is my mother. The person who's not here today because of her. Happy, healthy, full of life. And I'm here today to speak on behalf of her because she was tragically, brutally murdered 2 days before her 44th birthday. September 14, 2002 was the worst night of my life. Sharon Roberts, my mother's killer, set my mother's trailer on fire, knowing she was inside. That monster entered the bedroom, seeing my mama sleeping in bed, and deliberately went in the living room and ignited a fire where she had no way to get out of there. She was trapped. She wanted to make sure she was in there and she would die. After I was informed that that body, they had to identify her body, I felt an overwhelming sense of emptiness because part of me died that night. The loss of my mother has been devastating. It has been incredibly difficult. The pain is unbearable. It has led me to commit suicide, and I almost attempted, but God's keeping me for some reason. I have to take medication every day to cope. Since I've learned that she wants to get on parole, I've been sick, mentally and physically sick. I can't eat or sleep or do anything else. I shouldn't be going through this right now because whenever the sole reason of agreeing for her to plead Oregon to manslaughter was that she would have no parole. So this was a bomb dropped on me a couple months ago. So I started digging and digging and digging, and the things that I found would make your skin crawl. She doesn't need to be in society. She's a danger. She's great in jail because she's confined. She doesn't know how to live outside. She's been in and out of jail her complete life. The time that she was out of jail, she committed a crime to go right back to jail. Arson. And it was all places that had dwellings that were occupied. She could have killed over 30 people that I myself have calculated. They have a 3-strike rule. I don't know what happened to that. She has 5 felons. 5. She should have life in prison. The biggest regret I have right now is that I didn't go to trial and fight for the death penalty because this was premeditated. She went in several times. This BS about her alcoholism. How are you going to be an alcoholic when you're in jail all your life? Let's leave. October 1st, 2002, she was scheduled to be back in reincarcerated. But she was 11 months late on her probation fees. She couldn't afford probation. How she's going to afford vodka or whatever else she's got going on? That's a lie. She's not an alcoholic. She's trying to use that. The same time, October 1st, my mama was moving in an apartment for disabled people that felons were not invited to. My mama wanted her out of her house. My mama was scared. I have statements from many people of Falls Parish that she would tell that she was scared of her life from Sharon and wanted her out.
She has no remorse. This, I don't even know what that was today, but okay. My mother was so burnt. Her hands were burnt to the bones. She got out of the bed. She knew when you have fire, 40% is fatal. She had 86%. She fought for her life. She knew what was going on until she took her last breath. I've had so much pain and suffering. My kids have felt it. I've never had a real life after that. Never. I have nightmares. I want my mama all the time. I wanted her here. I called for my mama here. I'm 49 years old. She died at 43. When I was 43, I wanted to die because it wasn't fair that I was alive and she loved her. And I want again and ask you, do you think that this repeated violent felony offender should live in a free world? She's too dangerous. She is just too dangerous. Her history proves it. She does not need to be out of jail. And as soon as she does, she's going to repeat this and kill another innocent soul. You can't go from doing something all your life to just shutting it out. And the only reason why she hasn't done it in the last 23 years is because she's been fined. And that's what I want to tell you. And this, I want to let you know, is the last Christmas with my kids. This is my son. This is him whenever he lost his grandmother. This was my daughter. I had to take her for her birthday. Your grandma's dead. Because my mama's birthday, my daughter's birthday, and my mama's birthday is right after each other. And this is the second time she tried to kill my mama on her birthday. And I do have a picture, I don't know if y'all can see it or bear it, of my mama burned. How bad it is. I don't know if y'all want to see it, but it's bad.
We got a lot of stuff in the record.
It's horrific.
Yes, ma'am.
And she knew about it this whole time. And she could have gone back and saved my mama's life, but she didn't.
All right, thank
An
you.
animal. An animal. This is my son.
Okay, okay, and state your name and if you want to tell us.
Isaac Hillary.
Yes, sir. Okay, go ahead.
Son of the victim, Amy Gaspar with my grandmother. Unfortunately, I was only 2 years old whenever my grandmother was taken. Not only is Sharon Roberts murderer, she's also a thief. She robbed me of my grandmother. I didn't get a chance to say and know her. I don't even know what she sounds like. The only reason why I know what she looks like is because of pictures. No videos. She robbed me. I never had an opportunity to know, oh, was she the grandmother that would fatten me up and give me money, or she was strict, mean grandma? I would never know. And given the fact of her past, of Miss Sharon, like my mother said, there's no way with someone with that, again and again and again, multiple accounts of arson and possibly could have killed other people, that should not be on the streets. And I agree with my mother. There's no way that she shouldn't just get 30 years. She should get the death penalty, in my opinion. Is it gonna work? Will my opinion matters to that? No, of course not. But the fact of the matter is, someone like that does not belong on the streets. That is just a hard. She's gonna hurt someone. It might not be the next day, might not be within the first week, but I can tell you within at least a month, someone's gonna get hurt because of her going out on the streets. And to say that childhood trauma has to do with the way that she acts, I call BS. My father is an alcoholic, abusive drunk. He's abused me, my sister, and my mother. Did I go kill someone? No. Do I do drugs? No. That's an excuse, and it's not worthy of an excuse. It's not fair. You can't say, oh, I was abused as a child, let me go kill somebody. That's no excuse.
Thank you. Okay, and Miss Patricia Bush.
Hey, my name is Patricia Bush, and I'm a friend of Amy Gaspar.
She had an inner beauty that is unforgettable. She was a trusting friend, and most importantly, a loving mother. Mandy Hill and a friend to Amanda and Isaac. When she spoke of her daughter, she had a ray of sunshine. She had so much life and so much love to give. And on September 14th, 2002, Sharon Roberts said to her, took Martine's home and took the life of Amy Martine Castro as she slept. Amy Martine knew living and was unable to escape. That day, she not only took Martine's life, but the quality of life for her only child, her grandchildren, her brother, father, and siblings. The loss of Mandy's mother, which was also her best friend, is forever altered. The grief, fear, anxiety, depression, and all the tears that Mandy and her family has endured will continue, for nothing could ever fill that void in their lives. Excuse me. It's been 23 years, Mandy visits her mom at the graveside. And many days, only she's there recently. Sharon Roberts also set fire to my parents' home. I've seen with my mother, stepfather, brother, and sister, nephew, been through, and Sharon Roberts set fire to their home. February 19th, 1990. And this was shortly after she had gotten out of jail. That she had supposedly was to serve 5 years, and she may have been out 3 months when she set this fire. It wasn't an accident, she purposely said. She knew they were sleeping, and she set that fire that day. My mother was at the hospital with my stepfather that had to undergo surgery, knee surgery. And thank God in heaven, my nephew woke up. And when he woke up, we went to get water. When he opened the door to the kitchen and living area, it was an older house, had a very long. And he yelled because it burnt his hand. My brother jumped up and he went to the door. And when he pushed the door, the home went into flames. My family, my brother, my sister, and my nephew got out without any bodily injury. But the emotional trauma remained. That's something that you can't, My parents worked very hard for what they had. They were seniors. You can never recover everything that you lost. I had to go to the hospital that day to let my mother know that the house had been burnt down. Everything was gone. But my brother, sister, and my nephew's life. I took them home. They came to stay with my house. I was able to hospital. And my mother came back home, and my stepfather, they came to my house. My mother cried uncontrollably. Everything that they worked for and all their security was forever gone. They had the clothes on their back with no answers as to what to go. I seen the tears, anxiety, depression, and emotional stress as I went with myself to see my family and my mother suffer in her senior years. Each time Sharon Roberts committed arson, it was planned. It was never. She knew what she was doing. She knew people were in the homes as she set the fire. She had left that home that day, knowing she couldn't stay there because my parents were coming home. And she left that day. But when she left, she made sure that no one was going to stay at home. And she succeeded. She has a history of arson and has disrupted and destroyed so many lives, hopes, and dreams. I plead with the Lord that she not be granted parole. She is a continued threat to society. She, at the time, we didn't know Sharon had committed this crime. And she actually showed up in my home. And I told her I had to go work. And when I went to work, I came home early to check on my parents to see how everything was going. And she walked up to me with a glass of cola with ice. And as she gave it to me, I went ahead and I drank it. I became so ill. I went to my bed. When I got out of bed, I was crawling on the floor. My mother made me weigh 100 pounds. She was a very small person. My brother, my stepfather had just had me surgery. My brother had to pick me up, and I had to beg to sit and have him care for that. Later, she asked me to go. Oh, she paid me. She told my mother she put something to drink. I just say that she doesn't deserve to be in the streets. And I hear what they say. But I plead with y'all today, save life. Save someone else. Thank you.
Okay, now we're gonna move on into the interviewing stage. Mr. Byright, you've been assigned the case.
Ms. Roberts, how many fires have you lit?
3 of them.
3? And why were you lighting the fires again?
Out of anger.
Anger. That's the only questions I had. I do know that you had 4 periods of probation or parole already, and all 4 of them got revoked, which is not a very good record. And that there's strong opposition from law enforcement. That's all the questions I have.
Just real quickly, Ms. Roberts, you do have a lot of revocations. What's your problem under supervision? Why can't you follow our instructions?
Have no place to go, and I just revolt.
Okay.
I had no support.
Ma'am?
I had no support outside. I mean, out there, and had no place to go.
If you burn it down where you're supposed to be staying, I mean, it's kind of tough, so. All right, I have no further questions. Panel ready to vote? Yeah, okay, Mr. Barra.
Ms. Roberts, I've read the letters of support. I've read the letters of opposition. I've read the parole projects letters and all of that. You're doing well in jail, and I commend you on that. However, I got to vote to deny this parole request because of the strong law enforcement opposition, the strong victim opposition, the criminal history while on supervision, 4 periods of supervision already revoked. You haven't convinced me that anything would be different.
So, Duke?
My vote today, I just want to know there are 277 pages in one file and 30 in another. And I've read everything. I've listened intently. My vote today is to deny parole based on prior criminal history, prior unsatisfactory supervision. He pled down from second degree to manslaughter, and opposition by all interested stakeholders.
Okay, and you already know the outcome, but my vote would be the same. We're lucky we only have one victim. Very, very lucky we only have one victim. So your parole's been denied today. Good luck to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that was quick. It's fascinating how you have the hearing in just really only a couple minutes. It's like watching an NFL football game. There's like 3 minutes of playing time, and the rest is just waiting things out. And I I really don't. Here's the thing. Here's what I think I saw in this hearing. They had the prior hearing where she's denied, and the parole project, like, they took notes. They're saying, well, maybe she needs like mental health, or maybe she. So then what their strategy is they have their in-house social worker interview her for 2 hours in person, and then take a Zoom call and say, I've noted in the record that it's possible that she went to special ed, and that can be why. And it's like, I get so pissed off. For those of you who are familiar, like very familiar with this channel, will know that I went to special ed. I literally did take the short bus to school, and I've never murdered anyone. I've never burnt things down. I'm not a serial arsonist, and I take great offense whenever they bring up special ed as to any type of causation for being a psychopath. It's insulting all of our intelligence, pun intended. And I'm not being dramatic, y'all. I don't have a GED. I couldn't pass a GED test. I dropped out of high school in the 10th grade. I am severely learning disabled. I'm not exaggerating any of that. So I have a right to be pissed off whenever they bring it up, the Parole Project in all their glory. Actually, I am a little upset for other reasons. I wish that they would have granted parole, because I think it would have been glorious to see what would have happened. What would Carrie Myers have slept with one eye open, wondering when she's going to burn down their facility? I mean, sir, arsons, it is a mental illness. Maybe they got that part right. It's not normal. This is not a healthy individual. This is not someone when you could just say, well, she's been locked up long enough. You can see it, you can feel it. You can see, like, and even then she still she still couldn't, even with all the coaching and coaxing and probably hand wringing about, just say this right, and still she couldn't do it right. She had like one job, and she still blamed it on, like, oh, I didn't know it would burn down. It's not like it's like, we all know you did it intentionally. The judge knew you did it intentionally. This was your third arson. Pete Freeman, oh my God, he cracks me up. That's what I love about him. He comes out of left field, right field. He comes out of nowhere, with these like with these like just these mic drops. He's got such a try. Like, yeah, you can't if you keep burning everything down, you can't have anywhere to live. And like I said, we didn't hear from the victims in the prior hearings, but we heard from them today. And as you can see, that's why you want us to. What a difference it makes to have the victims speak and to carry the message and to lay down the facts. It's just the difference. It's remarkable. In the prior hearing, there were no victim impact statements, and my guess would be because they weren't notified. To think for a second that they would have said, we didn't want to talk on behalf behalf of our loved one. And thank you, Lady Holly, for polling what research there is. There's really nothing on this. There was an old newspaper clip article, where it says that the judge sentenced her to 30 years in Louisiana Department of Corrections for the September 14, 2002. Can you imagine 2002 has been that long ago? And she's getting out anyways, I think because of good time. I think she's getting out in like 3 years, did they say, or 4 years? She died in a house fire that was set September 14, 2002 at a North Main Street trailer park. According to an investigation, the fire, which allegedly set by a lit cigarette that she left at the home. And we'll do the fact of the day in a moment. I first want to get a few things off my chest, but listening to, again, I do think there's some form of insanity. When you think about this, if you let it sink in, either you're on two sides. Either you believe you have to believe what they are saying, which is she had this horrendous record, has, I don't think arsonistic tendencies. She is an arsonist. She likes to burn things down. So you have to believe what they're saying, which is, no. It's because she's went to special ed. She's going to be fine when she gets out. Let her out. Forget the pain. Forget even having the argument where she murdered someone and there's all the pain of the victims and to trample on the victims again. Forget all of that emotional aspect. You're going to get up here and you are going to say, because I'm a social worker and I spent 2 hours with her and I had a Zoom phone call and I determined that she's special. I'm paraphrasing, but that was my takeaway. But she's okay now. So let her out. I think that's insane. This is, I mean, you would take that chance, or you can say, well, let's look at all the data of, like, once an arson, can he really stop being an arson? Maybe she actually doesn't have the ability to feel empathy. I thought the whole tissue thing, that wasn't, I think that just felt, it's very hard to be, because at the moment she says her little speech, she takes the tissue as if on cue. And then the second they ask a question, her voice changes to normal. And that's the thing. It's the hardest thing in the world to fake cry. And so many people think they can do it, and then you just snap out of it because you can't. Real crying, her voice would have maintained that pitch. It didn't. She snapped out of it. She was normal. And it's like, how could you advocate for someone and try to twist the truth to fit your narrative, all for really what the Parole Project gets is money? That's what it is. I mean, for those of you not familiar with how the Parole Project works, it was created as a bipartisan thing in Louisiana to help. This was a different governor, a different time, different agendas, but they wanted to empty their prisons. So they said, well, how can we empty the prison without having anywhere to help them? In Connecticut, you have halfway houses, you have all these different systems in place, like we've seen that. And in Louisiana, they said, well, we can create a parole project. It'll be tax funded. It'll be a non-for-profit. They'll also raise money, but we'll give all this tax dollars. They'll house them. They'll take care of them. And then we can pass legislation that will shorten people's sentences and boom, magic puff, just like that. We won't be the highest incarcerated state in America, or one of the top 2 or 3, whatever it is. But it's we don't like their reputation. It's also expensive. A lot of prisons in Louisiana are privatized or partially privatized. So as inmates get older, very expensive, not good for a P&L sheet. Okay, let's pass legislation that will like Act 122, for example, which, anyone with a life sentence could be eligible for parole if they've served like more than 20 years or 30% of their sentence. It's not just a life sentence, any sentence. I know there's caveats to that. It's not so simple, but you get the drift. Follow the money, follow the dollar. What else do I want to say on this hearing? I mean, it's either and look, we're not an echo chamber. If you think I'm wrong, if you like to really say, you know what, no, I think she was just lighting the fires because she was special, or I'll stop being facetious. She was lighting it because, what were the words she used? Because she was angry, because she was drinking. She gave multiple excuses. I just put the cigarette down. I didn't know what would happen. It takes. I think it's an art form. Anyone who's smoked, you could throw your cigarette on the floor. It is hard to get that thing to light something up. I don't think you just flick a cigarette. I think you put a little bit more finesse into it, a little bit more work to actually create a full blown structure fire. I don't even buy that you just flick the cigarette. Anyways, there you have it. Let's go do Lady Holly's fact of the day. And again, remember, thank you, Sir Richard and Lady Holly, for the spreadsheets that allow us to connect the dots on these hearings. If you want to see more hearings where we connect the dots, check out the Return of playlist. That's where these go, and it's getting to be the biggest playlist that we have. Eventually, I think it'll be there, actually. So that's all, folks. In California, it's illegal to whistle for a lost canary before 7 a.m. What makes these laws? See, legislators got together and said, you know what? And it's illegal to whistle for a lost canary. And you know what happened for sure, right? Well, let's just keep reading. We're not entirely sure how this. Ooh, I like that we have that info in here. Thank you, Holly. We're not entirely sure how this bizarre law came about, but according to California.com, the city of Berkeley. It's interesting that it's .com and not .gov. I wonder. I guess it means a private website, right? The city of Berkeley, California, prohibits anyone from whistling for their lost canary before the wee hours of 7 a.m. Here's to hoping we don't lose our canaries. But does that mean I can whistle for fun before 7 a.m. as long as I didn't lose a canary? That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, if it literally doesn't say don't whistle. It says don't whistle for the lost canary. And I have I'll end it at that note. I actually do have a story about whistling for kind of a canary. So I have 7 siblings. One of my siblings, one of my baby sisters, because I have 3 baby sisters. So the second to youngest, she had this little bird named Polly. And I don't know what kind of bird it was, like this big. It couldn't talk, but not a, yeah, I don't even know what it was. Colorful. I don't know, that's very helpful, but a cute bird, and it was like her best friend. The bird slept in the bed with her, and when you went into there to wake her up, the bird would come crawling out of the blankets and like tweet at you to protect her. And she was best friends, and she had the bird for years. And then she went away to a friend's house, and I was left alone with the bird to protect the bird. And I took the bird out of her cage, and I had her hanging out with me. And someone opened the front door, and I was near the front door. And at that moment, she jumped up and flew out the door. And I said, no, 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 no. And you don't realize this until you're looking for a bird, but all of a sudden I could hear that bird chirping everywhere. I mean, there are so many birds that sound the same. And I was running everywhere for this chirp, and they all sound, as soon as you like pay attention to the outside noise, there's so much chirping. And I ended up finding her, and she was up on the top of a tree. You know, her feathers were normally they'd get them cut so she can't fly, but I guess it was, she wasn't up to date, and so she was able to fly. And she's up on the tree, like 50 feet up, and I see her, and I'm yelling, Polly, and she's not coming down. And I felt like her little brain, she was even confused about what was going on, because you could see she saw me and I saw her, but she wouldn't come. So I took her huge cage, those like 5 feet tall cages, dragging it out like 100 yards to where she was, putting it there, opening it, and she just would not come down. And night fell, and she would not come down, and there was nothing I can do, and that was it. Never saw her again, and my sister still has not forgiven me. I think she was maybe 10 years old or 11 years old at the time. So that's my story about the whistling before. So that would have been interesting if imagine I'm sitting there trying to whistle for my sister's bird, and then some cop shows up and gives me a ticket. And with that, I'll let you go.
And ask you, do you think that this repeated violent felony offender should live in a free world? She's too dangerous. She's just too dangerous. Her history proves it. She does not need to be out of jail. And as soon as she does, she's going to repeat this and kill another innocent soul. You can't go from doing something all your life to just shutting it out. And the only reason why she hasn't done it in the last 23 years is because she's been fined. And